Let's discuss Jon-Erik Hexum. This is another lecture. Let's begin with the foundations. I'm Alexei, and today we will analyze a brief incandescent career and a cautionary case in onset risk. We will proceed with facts first, and then with questions that the facts invite.
Hi, I'm Priyanka. I help with the course, and I'm here to ask the questions that I think many of us quietly have when we hear a story like this.
To frame our discussion, Jon-Erik Hexum was an American actor and model, born in 1957 in Englewood, New Jersey, who became widely known for leading roles on television, notably Voyagers and Cover Up. He possessed the specific combination of athleticism and screen charisma that casting executives prize. His career, however, ended abruptly in 1984 at age 26, after an on-set accident involving a blank-loaded revolver. Before we delve deeper, it is crucial to define several terms precisely. Blank cartridge, a firearm cartridge with primer and gunpowder but no bullet. At close range, the gases and wadding expelled from the barrel can inflict severe or fatal injury. Russian roulette, a lethal game of chance using a revolver with a single loaded chamber, spun before pulling the trigger against one's own head. Muzzle blast, the high-pressure gases and debris that exit a firearm's barrel upon firing. Brain death, the irreversible cessation of all brain activity. In many jurisdictions, this constitutes legal death even if heart and lungs are temporarily maintained by machines.
So, basically, a blank is loud and looks like a shot, but at contact range, it's still dangerous because of the gas and wadding. Muzzle blast is that pressure coming out the barrel, and brain death is the medical point where, even if machines keep the heart beating, the person is gone. Did I miss anything critical there?
That is an accurate simplification. Moving forward, why does this matter beyond one tragic event? In this context, Hexum's death became a widely cited reminder that blanks are not benign. They require the same rigor as live rounds with respect to distance, direction, and supervision. The incident contributed to industry-wide scrutiny of firearm handling, downtime procedures, and armorer control. Later tragedies, for example Brandon Lee in 1993 and the Rust shooting in 2021, would reiterate that safety on sets is a living system that must resist complacency, schedule pressure, and misunderstandings about risk.
I think many people, including me before I read the case, underestimated blanks. It sounds like the misunderstanding itself was a risk factor.
Speaking of misconceptions, Hexum's public image was both precise and paradoxical. He was a rapidly rising star, positioned as the next big thing, a lead on NBC's Voyagers in 1982, within a short time of arriving in Los Angeles, then on CBS's Cover Up in 1984. He was also a sex symbol after Making of a Male Model in 1983 drew high ratings. Yet he described himself as an extreme miser. He lived in a modest Burbank house with sparse furnishings and drove a 1954 Chevy Bel Air. The contrast between glossy publicity and pragmatic lifestyle is analytically instructive. Markets reward image, but individuals navigate identity and values under that pressure.
Isn't it interesting how he pushed back on that image too? He later said the male model project felt more exploitative than he expected. And yet, he still worked within that production world, like his hotel guest role. Also, he had started a company to produce and direct, and even did a Playgirl profile tied to Cover Up, clothed and shirtless, but not nude. So he was negotiating image and control at the same time.
Let's start with the history in compact form. Hexum and his brother Gunnar were raised in Tenafly, New Jersey by their mother Greta after their parents' divorce when he was about 4. Their Norwegian family background emphasized hard work. His mother worked 2 jobs, yet bought a piano, supported singing and dancing lessons, and took them to the theater. In high school, he played football and other sports, served as drum major, became the school's first male cheerleader, acted in productions like Carousel and The Pajama Game, and was senior class president. The marching band performed at the Rose Parade in 1973. He graduated in 1976, studied first at Case Western Reserve, then transferred to Michigan State University, ultimately receiving a BA in political philosophy in 1980. Along the way, he played football as a backup, acted in minor stage roles, and worked as a radio disc jockey. A few days after graduation, he moved to New York, worked as an apartment cleaner, and met Bob Lamond, John Travolta's manager, who recognized his potential. In 1981, he relocated to Los Angeles to audition for Summer Lovers. He did not get the part, but the process placed him on casting radars. In 1982, he won the lead in Voyagers, a Sunday time travel adventure that struggled in ratings against 60 Minutes and was canceled in 1983 despite a loyal audience. That same year, the TV movie Making of a Male Model made him widely recognizable, and in 1984 he guest starred on Hotel and was cast on Cover Up opposite Jennifer O'Neill as Mac Harper, an undercover CIA operative posing as a model. He also prepared meticulously for a small part in the feature The Bear, portraying Alabama quarterback Pat Trammell. He cut his hair to match, visited Alabama, and met Trammell's family and teammates. The film was released roughly 3 weeks before his death. Now the accident. In October 1984, on stage 18 at the 20th Century Fox lot, during filming of the 7th episode of Cover Up, delays and retakes created downtime. A functional .44 Magnum revolver with blanks was present for a scene requiring loading cartridges. In a moment of flippant mimicry of Russian roulette, Hexum left one blank in the cylinder, spun it, placed the muzzle to his right temple, and pulled the trigger. The contact range muzzle blast fractured a quarter-size piece of skull and drove it into his brain, causing massive hemorrhaging. After 5 hours of surgery, the prognosis was dire. He was declared brain dead later in October 1984, at age 26.
That mechanism is still shocking. No bullet, but the pressure alone at contact range was catastrophic.
With his mother's permission, his organs and tissues were donated. His heart went to a 36-year-old man in Las Vegas, kidneys to a critically ill 5-year-old boy, and to a 43-year-old grandmother of 3. Corneas to a 66-year-old man and a young girl. Donated skin aided a child with severe burns. His body was returned to Los Angeles. He was cremated at Grandview Crematory in Glendale, with ashes scattered in the Pacific near Malibu. The cover-up episode he had been working on aired 2 weeks later, and later that month the show introduced Anthony Hamilton. A memorial message replaced the closing credits when the series acknowledged Hexum's character's death off-screen. His mother later received an out-of-court settlement from 20th Century Fox Television and Glenn A. Larson Productions.
It's heartbreaking. But the organ donation details are also, quietly extraordinary. One loss became several lives extended or restored.
Before we get to the complexities, a brief personal note. I study how safety standards evolve in systems where appearance and risk can be misaligned. Aviation, laboratories, and yes, film sets. We observe that high reliability emerges not from heroics, but from the boring excellence of procedures that work even on a bad day. That lens will guide our questions. This brings us to 3 big questions. Priyanka, would you be so kind as to pose the first?
Big question 1. Historically, why weren't accidents like Hexum's prevented earlier? Like, if the physics of blanks were known, why wasn't the system already robust?
To elaborate, the knowledge that blanks can injure at contact range was not new in principle. However, risk on sets is mediated by culture, memory, and schedule. We see several factors. First, normalization of deviance. When nothing bad happens for a long time, people infer safety from experience rather than from physics. Second, authority diffusion. Multiple departments share responsibility, direction, props, armorer, actors. So no single voice may dominate during downtime. Third, time pressure. Delays and retakes create fatigue and impatience. In such conditions, jokes with dangerous tools seem temporarily harmless. Fourth, incomplete mental models. Some participants equated blank with harmless, ignoring muzzle blast and wadding. Hexum's case crystallized how these small failures can align catastrophically.
So, yeah, moving on from causes to responses. How did the industry actually tighten things after this? What changed in practice, not just in theory?
We can infer several concrete shifts, acknowledging that they accumulated over time and across productions, rather than from a single memo. 1. Stricter armorer control and chain of custody. Functional weapons and blanks are under continuous supervision, issued only immediately before a take and retrieved immediately after. 2. Distance and direction rules. Explicit prohibitions against placing a muzzle against the body or pointing at the head. Minimum distance requirements. Actor marks adjusted to preserve sight lines without compromising safety. 3. Pre-scene briefings and demonstrations. Clear explanations of what blanks do, how they are loaded, and what actors will and will not do. 4. Locked or cleared sets during delays. If a reset drags, weapons are cleared, removed, or locked in secure cases. No free play with props that can function. 5. Substitution. Inert replicas, rubber guns, or VFX muzzle flashes when possible. Reserving blanks for narrow cases requiring specific practical effects.
Can we say that in simpler terms for the checklist crowd?
In simpler terms, one boss of the gun, one moment with the gun, zero jokes with the gun. Treat blanks as dangerous, never to the head. Lock it up during delays. Use fakes when you can. Next, let's explore a counterfactual. Priyanka, your second question.
Big question 2. What if Voyagers had not been cancelled because it aired against 60 Minutes? If the time slot had been kinder, how might Hexum's path have changed?
Theoretically, scheduling is destiny in network television. Voyagers was a family-friendly adventure airing opposite the highest-rated primetime program. The competition was brutal. Had the slot been favorable and the show continued, several consequences are plausible. First, career momentum consolidates in the existing vehicle. Hexum's association with an action-adventure lead deepens over multiple seasons, building a durable fan base. Second, the opportunity cost changes. He may not have been available for cover-up in 1984, which is to say the specific circumstances of October 1984 never materialize for him. Third, longer runway often broadens craft. He was already preparing meticulously for even small roles, and an extended series might have accelerated his move into producing and directing, which he had just set in motion. All of this is conjectural, but the causal chain from time slot to life trajectory is not far-fetched in this industry.
And in terms of roles, what kinds of projects might have come his way if that family adventure identity had solidified?
We observe patterns. Actors who anchor successful network adventure series in the early 1980s often transition to adjacent leading roles. Romantic adventure, espionage light, or ensemble action, while testing feature films that leverage physicality and charm. Given Hexum's athletic profile, versatility across romance and action, and his interest in creative control, one could imagine a portfolio mixing network leads, TV movies with more dramatic weight, and exploratory producing. But to be rigorous, we are aligning tendencies rather than asserting specifics. To summarize the hypothetical, a different Sunday night changes a cancellation. A non-cancellation changes availability. Changed availability alters which set you stand on in October 1984. Small scheduling levers can move very large outcomes. On to our next point, the present day. Priyanka, the third question, please.
Big question 3. How do we balance authenticity and safety on sets now? What challenges remain, and what role does modern technology play?
It is worth noting that authenticity is a moving target. Audiences accept more digital augmentation today, but not infinitely. The current challenges include, first, human factors. Complacency, cognitive overload, and time pressure still erode vigilance. Second, uneven standards. Union productions may enforce rigorous protocols, while lower budget or rushed shoots can struggle to maintain them. Third, education gaps. Crew and actors cycle in and out. Without repetitive scenario-based training, knowledge decays. Fourth, incident learning. Near misses are underreported. Without data, lessons diffuse slowly.
And technology. Are we at the point where, digital muzzle flashes and sound design make blanks mostly obsolete?
Many productions already substitute inert replicas, rubber or resin props, or gas-powered lookalikes, adding muzzle flash, smoke, and report in post. This reduces but does not eliminate risk. Even replicas can be mishandled as blunt objects, and realism pressures can tempt returns to blanks. Areas for further development include standardized, verifiable checklists embedded into call sheet software, telemetry or smart tags for weapon custody, inexpensive chamber illumination tools that make clear to camera and crew what is loaded, computer vision aids that flag unsafe muzzle alignment during rehearsals, and crucially, better dissemination of case studies so that each set does not have to relearn the same painful lessons. Fundamentally, the safest shot is the one that does not require a real discharge at all.
Maybe it's just me, but that sounds like a shift from trusting memory to trusting systems, moving from vibes to verification.
Arguably, the most reliable special effect is a documented procedure, and in this context, blanks are not blank checks. They are debts that must be paid in planning, training, and control. To summarize, Jon-Erik Hexum was a gifted American actor whose swift ascent, Voyagers, Making of a Male Model, Cover Up, and A Careful Turn in the Bear, was cut short by a blank cartridge fired at contact range in October 1984. He was later declared brain dead in October 1984. Organ donations that followed saved or improved multiple lives. We examined 3 questions. Why prevention lagged despite known physics? How a different time slot might have altered his path? And how to balance authenticity and safety now. For those wishing to study further, look into on-set firearm protocols, incident reporting practices, and the evolution of practical effects versus digital alternatives.
That was helpful to think through, actually. Thank you, Professor. And thank you for listening.
In conclusion, safety is a story we must keep telling. Until next time,